welcome back to One Piece Anime Review. This is part 18. This one I'm reviewing pretty much what so far has aired for season 19, which is the current season of the show. And pretty much we talk about the first 23 episodes. The 24th episode of the season, which is episode number 806, is going to air this coming Sunday. So pretty much this part is just basically what has aired so far. And the chapters this season adapts so far, up until the most recent episode which aired a couple days ago, it's just basically like pretty much like a good, I'd say a good round the first 8 basically chapters. It does adapt chapters 825 to 842, plus it also adapts for the first episode of the season pretty much the last 4 pages of chapter 824. And there are some additions here and there, like Sanji basically meeting, sort of basically seeing Lola's sister Clifton. That did not happen in the manga, but it does stay pretty true to how the manga has presented these characters. There's no major change per se, but also starting with, I think it's 801 or 802. Yeah, for some reason, basically, if you watch the series of the past couple seasons at this point, it basically has like a rounding off of all, saying, oh, Luffy wants to be king of the pirates. This happens right after the opening titles, and it shows up basically oh yeah, it's basically gives a summary to show Luffy gets the Gum fruit, and then later on they show up pretty much like a montage of all 9 crew members. Yeah, for some reason they decided to cut that out. I have no idea why. But they do keep the mid-rolls, which basically shows the Wanta posters, which, yeah, still shows that. Which I think they're going to keep that for the pretty much rest of the series. Now, honestly, right now, the current arc right now, because I did read chapter 878 very recently, and this chapter was pretty good. And as of right now, I am updated with the manga and pretty much the anime, though I'm going to be watching some episodes I skipped over because I want to save for later, because I wanted to keep progressing forward the plot of the show. So pretty much, as of this season, I have watched every single filler arc except for 2, or at least basically filler episodes. One is the Boss Luffy ones. I skipped over those because I wanted to save those when I watched the continuous What's the Boss Luffy special, and I skipped over the Little Blue arc, which leads into one of the films. This 4-part story leads into One Piece Strong World. There's a few other specials here and there that leads into another film, but overall, so far this season hasn't had any filler per se. Yeah, there's no filler. Pretty much it's just to keep adapting the current season. And introduction-wise, basically, now Big Mom was introduced way back in, I believe, the end of season 15, along with Peckham's and the Baron guy, the guy who has a teacup on his head. Yeah, those 3 are not new. They do introduce several of Big Mom's kids. Now, the first one introduced prior to even these 3 show was Lola, which, by the way, they had the first appearance of Lola's father, her sister, her twin sister actually, Lola's nephew, Pez, who is the son of Capone Gang Bengal, who is the husband of Clifton, who is basically Pound's one of Pound's daughters. Yeah, apparently according to Pound, Big Lin basically abandoned him after the daughters were born. I should point out though, Lin is over 9 feet tall, and this woman has an obsession with sweets. And I kind of forgot this. I didn't really notice this in the manga that much. Apparently, Big Mom's hat talks. Now, I know about the sweets, the trees, the ground, everything else that talks, but I never knew. I kind of didn't notice that Big Mom's hat on top of her head. Yeah, this thing talks. Somehow, I don't know why. Though it kind of explains one of the things of her power. Apparently, she ate the soul fruit, and she can absorb people's life force. And she kills one of her sons this way by taking 50 years of his lifespan, because he got in her way, and she wanted this particular sweet. Yeah. Now, Big Mom herself is not a terrible villain. As a matter of fact, she's actually a pretty interesting one, though they don't exactly at this point have her backstory. I know her backstory because I've read it in the manga. They haven't got that far yet in the anime. My guess is they probably won't get that far, probably not for another couple months. It just depends on exactly when they're going to do it. But, let's see. They introduced so far at least several of her kids. Caesar Clown does come back in this season. First time he's been physically seen since I think he did appear for one episode of the previous season. But yeah, they introduced her first son, her 10th son, her 8th daughter. Pudding makes her first appearance in this season. Though she appears about 2 or 3 episodes. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh yeah. Well, her 10th son is basically Cracker, and he has his true form is actually a lot thinner than he actually is. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, G-May comes back. In the show, it's actually been 5 seasons since he's actually appeared. Which in the manga, it's been some time. I think it's been, let's see, Punk Hazard, Dressrosa. Basically, it's been 4 arcs since he actually appeared. And it's kind of the same thing in the anime, where it's been 4 seasons since he's last made physical appearance. So at least a way to compare it to bring this character back. Also, oh yeah, I almost forgot, they do just one of her daughter. Let's see, it's the 8th, 35th, Clifton. Oh yeah, and there's actually one daughter who's actually a mermaid. No joke, she's a mermaid. She basically is a hammerhead mermaid. Stunning woman, and she's bigger than her husband. And it's also brought up, I kind of do remember this from the manga, Big Mom has had 43 husbands. 43. It's not mentioned she's currently married. She's had 43 ex-husbands. They do introduce one, Pound, who does bear striking resemblance to Lola and Clifton. Basically ladies who have big heads. My guess is, look at this guy. He's shorter than Big Mom. My guess is he's probably about 8 feet tall, maybe. That's my personal guess. Some people thought he was a giant because how big he was. Basically just a giant-sized human. But pretty much so far, the seasons were pretty good. I'm not a big fan of the seducing wood stuff. Yeah, even if on the manga this part was not very interesting at all, like the first part of when they brought it in. Yeah, it just reminds me too much of Alice in Wonderland. I have nothing against Alice in Wonderland. I actually like the story. But here, it's just not interesting. I kind of felt bored watching it, going through the first part of when they're doing the seducing wood stuff. Yeah, I kind of felt really bored. But later I got a lot more interesting because first up, it was just dragging, and then all of a sudden, poof, we actually finally had some interesting action. Like, especially the whole thing with Cracker. Oh, and Nami has kept Lola's Viva card this whole time. She's got it for over 2 years. And apparently this Viva card has a piece of Big Mom in it. Piece of her soul. So she gets showing it off, and it spooks these homies. Basically the sentient trees and flowers and soil. Yep. Of course, not only do you introduce several Big Mom's kids, they also bring in Sanji's family for the first time. They introduce his jerk of a father, his abusive brothers, which by the way they're like labeled 1, 2, and 4, and his smoking hot sister. Yeah, his smoking hot sister. Oh, and Brooke basically can't help but saying, "Can I see your panties?" Of course, he gets smacked by Nami, and like with Robin, she does nothing about it. Though, she does pretty much the same thing with Luffy that she does in the manga. She basically absorbs all the poison that basically Luffy had because he ate the skin of a poisonous fish. Though, looking at it, it's like Luffy, she kissed Luffy. Yeah, she kissed Luffy. Basically, this is actually the first time Luffy's ever been kissed on the lips. First time ever. Though, I keep wondering, I wonder if Hancock basically would get jealous of the fact that this woman basically kissed him. Though there was a good reason for it, because she has the ability to absorb poison in her body. And it lasted for a good period of time. In the manga, I think it lasted for like 2 or 3 pages. This felt like it lasted for about a good 10 minutes. I feel like it lasted for a while. That's what it seemed like. Of course, they Of course, they also have her hit her brother, which is something that the only time he does. Also, they bring in this lovely chef who basically Sanjay protects from being hit by a plate, of all things. He basically respects her food. It's really good. And then later on, his second brother, the one who's marked number 2, beats the crap out of her. All because Sanjay cared for her. And he calls her the cook wench. Which, I'm like, wench? Does that mean that she sleeps with him or something? That's what I think of anyways. Though, because she was assigned to be Sanjay's servant. I would not be surprised, though, if somehow, basically, once he gets away from the family, he keeps his woman, basically, well, not as a servant per se, but, yeah, I mean, some people kind of predict maybe, like, Jinbei is going to join the crew, which that's going to happen anyways. Some people predict that Carrot is going to be part of the crew. I would personally like it if this, Charlotte, I'm trying to think, what is her name? Look her up here. What is her name? I'm looking her up now. This made a first appearance, I think it was like episode 798. Yeah, that's what it was in the anime. Let's see. Excuse me. Costetet. Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's basically based on a French name. I wouldn't be surprised if Sanjay took this woman as assistant and just kept her around because, well, it keeps her away from his abusive family, who basically, her brothers basically would constantly abuse her. Excuse me. To get back in it. I wouldn't be surprised about that. But I think of her as a useful character, despite the fact that, well, she doesn't do very much, but yeah. But I would think Sanjay would basically say to his father, yeah, like, I'm leaving, and I'm taking the woman that was assigned to my servant. I'm taking her with me, and you have no say in the matter. He'd probably be like, fine, take her. You care about more than we do. I'm sure that's probably what he would say. That's my thinking would happen. I mean, it's not a bad idea to do. I mean, yeah, Carrot's going to stay on full time because, well, I think she's probably getting some popularity. I don't know. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about the character Carrot. Jinbei's obviously definitely going to stay. So I wouldn't be surprised if the crew increased from 9 to about 12 people. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be happy about it. Basically having a fishman, a mink, and another woman, a regular human woman to the crew. Basically, so the crew be increased to having like 4 women and 8 guys. Though I'm thinking, no, how can all these guys fit? Now, Chopper basically sleeps in the sick bay. Basically, he thinks that it's his personal quarters, so he doesn't have to sleep in the men's quarters. This is what I've read. So all the rest of the guys, even the captain, sleeps in the men's quarters, which I'm kind of like, pirate captains get their own personal quarters, so why would he have to share the quarters with his own men? Yeah, this is a common practice even for regular Navy, where the captain gets his own personal quarters. Even pirates pretty much get the same way as well. But for some reason, Luffy doesn't do that at all. I have no idea why. I've never understood exactly why. Maybe because he wants to be equal to his crew, that's a possibility. But it wouldn't hurt for him to have his own room. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt it. Yeah, though, in the case of the men's quarters, yeah, it's a traditional Navy-style thing with hammocks, though the women basically have a traditional hotel-style bedroom for theirs. Though I've never actually seen it shown in the anime for some reason. I have no idea why. But yeah, this has been a good season so far. I'm looking forward to the next episode, which is basically when they get introduced the Mark II of Gear 4, which is the Tank Man. Probably as a result of Luffy eating a bunch of biscuits. Yeah, that's what he's been doing for the past couple episodes, eating biscuit warriors that got wet from rain, apple juice, and melon juice. No joke. Yeah. Bastille, for some reason, who's the 8th daughter. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has noticed this. She kind of looks like a female version of Caesar Clown. She has the same kind of smile, like basically the same teeth, basically the same facial structure as Caesar, and she has the same laugh that he does. So would it be surprising if, let's say, this woman is actually related to Caesar Clown? Well, Caesar is not exactly a son of Big Mom. He doesn't call her Mama. No. My guess is that she must be a daughter. She must be related to, and this is just my personal guess, probably like a relative of Caesar Clown himself. That's my personal guess. But if you look at her, she looks almost exactly like Caesar Clown. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but I think I may be the only one. The two big differences between the two of them is that she has a scar across her face. Caesar Clown doesn't. And let's see, of course, obviously being a woman. And also her skin is different color as well. But basically, design-wise, she looks almost exactly like Caesar Clown. As far as I know in the manga, these two have never met. It would be interesting if these two met. Yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, I don't get why they can't meet. As far as I know, as of the recent chapter, these two have never met each other. I know for a fact they have now introduced every single child, every single one of the 87 children of Big Mom. As of this point, even the anime, let's see, two Pudding, two sons. I'd say about 7 or 8 of Big Mom's kids have been introduced so far, both in the anime and the manga. Excuse me. Oh yeah, and they all have, and all these kids, basically, some of the kids are married and they have their own kids. So basically, Big Mom is not only a mother, obviously, she's a grandmother. But the only one I've ever been seen on screen is Pez, the son of Bedge and Clifton. Yeah, that's the only one I've seen. But yeah, still can't wait for next week's episode. Well, next episode anyways. So that's really it for this one. Stay tuned for whenever I get a chance to do part 19, in which that one I'm going to go over the specials. There are at least 12 of these, so I'm hoping these won't take too long. I may throw in doing the OVAs as well, and then after that, in part 20, I'll do the films, and of course the stuff leads into the one arc that leads to the films I have left, and then start with part 21, which I'm going to rename from part to episode 21. Starting with that one, it will be regular episode reviews of One Piece. Okay? But until I see you on my next video, bye.